All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to break down my song Deja Vu. Deja Vu is the lead single off of my debut album By Any Means, which was released on August 1st of this year. So basically the song just gives how would you call it? It gives props to hip hop from the past. The people that I really looked up to or got a chance to know, through their lyrics. So we're gonna get through it. Just give me one moment. I'm gonna pull up the lyrics. All right, and this is gonna be fun because you guys are gonna get a chance to see. I don't normally do um lyric breakdowns, but I figured why not? You know, see if I can find it here. Ah, check this out. Okay, so let's look at the first few verses. The first four bars. It says, "My first taste of rap was in 1996. Busta Rhymes, Woo Ha put it all in the mix. Then it was Ghetto Superstar by Project Killer and ODB. Baby, I Got Your Money would be next for me." All right, so back in 1996, I would say that was my first time remembering, hearing hip hop. Like Woo Ha, I used to hear it in the basement all the time. My uncle would play the record, or I would hear it out in the street. Another record that was very popular was Ghost Town DJs, you know. Um, but Wu Ha was from Busta Rhymes' first album, and it was his lead single off of the album The Coming. And then I mentioned Ghetto Superstar, right? Around this time, Praz had broken away from the Fugees, right? Now, the Fugees was a group that consisted of Wyclef, Praz, and Lauryn Hill. And by 1998, they separated. Everybody had their solo careers. The first one to break was Wyclef, right? And then the song Ghetto Superstar was a single on Praz's first album that was only supposed to feature Maya. And how ODB ended up getting on it was he thought he was at a studio in New York. Basically, the ODB, he was a little bit buzzed, you know. And then after that, I mentioned Baby I Got Your Money would be next for me. Baby I Got Your Money was a lyric from Baby I Got Your Money, I'm sorry, was a song from ODB. And I believe it was the first song off of his album Nigga Please. Not the first song, but basically the lead single. And then after that, I said Black Rob was like whoa from the Bad Boy era. South Jamaica Queens put it all together with Ja Rule and 50 Cent. Between me and you, your life's on the line. That's how they all do. All right. So when I said Black Rob, Whoa was a single from Black Rob's first studio album. Before everybody had heard of Black Rob through the song 24 Hours to Live, which featured The Locks and DMX and Mace. And then I said South Jamaica Queens in the rhyme, right? And the first songs I remember hearing from Ja Rule and 50 Cent, well, with Ja Rule, it was Between Me and You featuring Christina Milian. That was big in the summertime. Used to see it all the time on BET. And then I remember 50 Cent's Your Life's on the Line, right? And I didn't even know who 50 Cent was back then, but I used to watch flavor videos. Well, flavor video. For those of you who lived in New York City, channel 26 and 35 growing up, Bobby Simmons from Stetsasonic was the host of Flavor Video, and that was one of the first videos from 50 Cent that I ever saw. Now, um, now let's go to the next set of lines. It says, Big Pun was the biggest, still missed to this day. Jay-Z got jams from the early days. I remember Eminem getting on in 99. He still goes strong, even living in his time. All right, so Big Pun, you guys know him for one of his biggest singles called Still Not a Player, featuring Joe, and It's So Hard, which was released when he passed away. When Pun passed away, I was in fourth grade, and I used to hear that song on the radio all the time. And I think I probably saw the video. I want to say I saw the video on Flavor Video because I didn't have cable back then. Um, and then it says Jay Z got jams from the early days. Yeah, 98, 99. You know what I mean? Like I remember that was my first taste of, Jay-Z's music and stuff like that. Big Pimpin' was left like a profound effect on me. Like that was during spring break of 2000. So a lot of videos were coming out. And then I remember in the summertime he had the song with Maya called Best of Me. It was the remix, you know. And then I remember Eminem getting on in 99. The first single I remember hearing from Eminem was My Name Is. And I was in third grade. So that was my first introduction to Eminem. Didn't know who he was, didn't know about him being in the rap Olympics or anything like that. But um I liked the song. But I just remember he was this guy with bleached hair and he had these hoop earrings and he was outrageous, but he was dope. He was amazing for the time that he fit in. It worked fine, because he was a real lyricist. He just had to create and craft a character in order for people to catch on. Now let's look at this. It says LL Cool J was a presence and a figure. Still to this day, you can rock with the Nelly was a favorite. Ludacris too. Nas and G Dep gotta rep the whole crew. All right. So with LL Cool J, um, the first time I saw LL Cool J, or I can remember, was seeing him on the show In the House. So I, like everybody else, I didn't really listen to his music until probably, I want to say, about 2000. The first song I remember hearing from LL Cool J was the song called Imagine That. So I don't remember the the 4-3-2-1 beef. I learned about that when I was in high school. But as a kid, Imagine That was the first single that I heard from LL Cool J. I know that sounds crazy. And then um there was the joint that he had, Paradise with A. Marie, which 50 Cent actually wrote. And then I'm trying to think of something else. What else? What else? Um Headsprung, that was a big single, and then Hush. So yeah, but Imagine That was the first song I remember hearing from LL Cool J. And then we got Nelly and Ludic. I said Nelly was a favorite. Ludacris too. Nas and G Dep got to rep the whole crew. Now with Nelly, Country Grammar was the first song that I heard from Nelly, and then with Ludacris, it was What's Your Fantasy, and I saw that video on BET, and I was with him, featuring Shauna, you know, and then Nas, the first joint that I remember, I want to say was the song that, and let me see if I'm gonna get this right. Oh, the first song was called "You Owe Me." That's the first time I remember hearing Nas, and that was with Genuine. So all these instances, like everybody, like for some fans, like it ain't hard to tell might actually be their first song or the joint that he did for the Zebrahead soundtrack, halftime. But my first introduction to Nas was when he did the track with Genuine called "You Owe Me," right? And then G Dep, I didn't start learning about G Dep until I was in high school. Now, in the summer of 2006, I started watching a show called The Bridge, and The Bridge basically was a spinoff of Video Music Box. Video Music Box, for those of you who don't know, is a program that's been on the air for 40 years. Um, April 2023 made it 40 years. And it originally used to air on Ion Television, which was known as WNYC 31, and then later WPXN, PAX TV. But yeah, on the show The Bridge is where, was it The Bridge? I think it was The Bridge. I want to say it was The Bridge, is where I first heard G Dep, because I think G Dep was on the Symphony track, the first one that Marley Marl produced. I know that he's on the second one, and the crazy thing about the second one is that Big Daddy Kane does not appear in the video, but his verse still plays throughout the video, and his brother Little Daddy Shane spits a rhyme right after him, and I think it was, I want to say it was about maybe a bar and a half or two, 3 bars, something like that, something to that effect. And then here's the chorus. It says, "The days of rap have changed into an art form that I don't understand. Tell me what's going on. Nobody wants to spit real bars anymore. Nobody wants to be a lyricist anymore. All the time, the evolution must come. But tell me what it is that's changing up the outcome. To be honest, I ain't dealing with a freak show. Hip hop is just nothing but a hoe." All right. So for me, the days of rap have changed to something that is completely different. And yes, rap can mean many things to different people, but I am just used to people rapping and spitting and talking about where they live and their life. I don't want to hear anything about political issues or in terms of, keep politics out of hip hop. I'm not saying that you can't be conscious, but time and time again, we have had rappers that have said one thing and have done something completely opposite. If what you're saying on record does not match what you are saying in your real life or saying when you get in front of an audience, that's very problematic. But also, yeah, just the certain agendas I don't like, and I'm not going to mention them. And when I said nobody wants to spit real bars anymore, be a lyricist, like, what I mean by that is all of this trap music and all of these songs that are about um 1 minute to 2 minutes long, like, it doesn't have any substance for me. Like, and that's not to say that these trap songs are any more bad than the music that we had in the 90s, because gangster rap was around, but now it's worse, even with the drug thing. And then I said, all through time the evolution must come, but tell me what it is that's changing up the outcome. At some point, yes, you do have to evolve, but if you're not evolving to something that's greater, then the outcome is going to be something that's negative that you don't want. And then I said, to be honest, I ain't dealing with a freak show. Hip hop is just nothing but a hoe. Now, hip hop, when it first started, it was a message of the ghetto, of the hood, the cry of the people living in the projects, right? But now you look at hip hop everywhere, and it's like, hip hop is sold out, right? Kind of like, um someone that sells their body, right? Like, hip hop has been conditioned to fit every type of person, so it's not any one way. And I just feel like hip hop nowadays completely gets played out. It's foolish, it's ridiculous. There's certain things that should not even be involved in hip hop. Now let's get to verse 2. It says, around the 2000s we started getting better. Hip hop got respect and was making enough cheddar. Fat Farm and Fubu, Rockaware too. You couldn't be cool if you didn't have a crew. All right, so um back in the day, hip hop was really getting a bad rap all over. You had people that were steamrolling albums. Like, for example, Apache had a song called Gangsta Itch. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep it clean. And basically they steamrolled his album because it was offensive to women, the record itself. And then you had what do you call it? You had Two Live Crew that was basically their music was being banned in Florida because it was considered to be too lewd and sex and all that. And as a matter of fact, they are the reason why other rap artists had to get parental advisory stickers on their records. Before that, nobody had parental advisory on their stickers, as far as I know. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But yeah, Two Live Crew was the cause of that. You know what I mean? So the '90s went through a lot. Around the 2000s, you started seeing more hip hop fashion. Up until that time, there were the guys that did the cross colors, and then there was Dapper Dan, who for many years was working with hip hop artists in New York City and creating clothing for them and stuff until um and I want to say it was somebody that worked for MTV, and they said, like, listen, and I think it was Tommy Hilfiger. They said, like, listen, Tommy Hilfiger says that if we continue working with you, then we can't promote their stuff or something to that effect, you know. But anyway, I said hip hop got respect and was making enough cheddar because hip hop by this point, by the 2000s, was starting to become a lucrative business. And it didn't matter whether or not you were black or white or what part of the hood you came from. If someone could make money off of you, they would do it in an instant. Now, around this time, you have Fat Farm, Fubu, and Rockaware. Fat Farm was a clothing company started by Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons is one of the founders, along with Rick Rubin, of Def Jam Records. Although Russell did not start it, Rick Rubin brought him along because he had a great business mind. But yeah, Def Jam Records is one of the first hip hop labels in New York City ever to carry hip hop. And then after that, you have Cold Chillin', and then you had Tommy Boy. But Tommy Boy was a mixture of electro music and stuff like that, like Planet Rock, that type of stuff. And then you had Rockaware. Now, um, let's go to Fubu. Fubu was a company that was created by Damon John. Damon John is originally from Jamaica, Queens. He lived in Hollis. Um, he started out his business by selling hats on the Ave, and then he made shirts. And I think his mother took out a second mortgage on the house just so he could have his career. He went to a special school. And then after that, he started making shirts. He started making Fubu. Now, LL Cool J was one of his close friends. And LL Cool J got people riled up after he was in a commercial for the Gap, where he rapped the line "For us, by us" on the low, which is actually the acronym for FUBU, although some people say it's something different. But yeah, so you had Fat Farm, which was started by Russell Simmons, FUBU, which was by um, Damon John, and then from Harlem and Brooklyn, you had Rockaware, that was created by Damon Dash and Jay Z. And Rockaware was very popular. As a matter of fact, I had a Rockaware sweater when I was in eighth grade, and we're talking 20 years ago. You know, so it's it's crazy. Like right around this time, you know, I had this sweater and all that. Now look at this, right? It says you couldn't be cool if you didn't have a crew. What I mean by that is around that time, everybody had an entourage or a group of people that they rocked with. It didn't matter who you were as an artist or who was on the record label. You always had a bunch of artists or people that got together that everybody was familiar with everybody. Nowadays, it's not like that. Everybody is kind of on their lonely. They're doing their own thing. If they meet up, they meet up. Like the power of record companies like Rockefeller Records. You had State Property. You had Dipset, which later on became the Diplomats. So you had Cameron, Freaky Zeke, Jim Jones, um, Joel Santana, and a lot of other people. Then you had Jay. Kanye West was a part of the production team. Just Blaze, like all of these people to make everything work. Nowadays, you don't even need a big team behind you because you can do everything in your crib, and you don't have to wait um a year or two before you hear your artist's next album because they're always dropping singles now that everything is digital, right? Now look at this. I'm gonna read this lyric. It says Neptunes changed the game with the high tone beats. Then they brought us the clips coming from Virginia Beach. Little Zane only lasted for a little while, but he made his mark. We all know him now. Now, when I said Neptunes changed the game with the high tone beats, the Neptunes are very instrumental in breaking new ground when it came to artists that were already established or artists that were beginning to make their solo career. Now, one of the first artists that the Neptunes worked with, I believe, were the Clips. The Clips originally came out in 1997 with a video called The Funeral. And around that time, I forgot who they were signed to. But basically, they had this whole album, and I don't think it came out. It might have gotten shelved. And then later on, it was re released after the Clips released their first, like, national studio album, right? So the Neptunes, they worked with ODB, Justin Timberlake, Snoop Dogg, Khalees, Jay Z, Philly's Most Wanted, and the list goes on and on and on, right? And if you guys remember when I say high tone beats, there was a sound that used to play in all the songs. Oh, they also produced for Fabulous as well, right? But there was a song, there used to be songs, certain songs by the Neptunes, you could tell that it was theirs because it had the signature. Pew, pew. Even the song Take You Home by Bow Wow has that. Around 2006, I think the momentum for the clips slowed down, or we weren't hearing much of that signature sound. Rap had started changing, you know. That's what I remember because up until 2000, like I want to say from like the early 2000s up until 2004, I remember hearing the clips heavily, and they were on their thing. Also, the clips produced for Ludacris. I believe that they produced the song. Um, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. I think they produced the song Southern Hospitality. Yeah, they produced Southern Hospitality. But anyway, let's look at this, right? It says Little Zane only lasted for a little while, but he made his mark. We all know him now. Now, Little Zane in 2000 had a single called Calling Me, right? Now, and I think that was with I want to say 112 or Jagged Edge. Matter of fact, I'm about to look it up right now. Yeah, it was 112. I was right. I'm not that far off. So it was 112. Um like if you guys remember the melody, it was like some type of salsa melody. And Little Zane was only 17 years old, you know. But years before that, when he was, I want to say around the age of 11, he was in a rap group. And I saw the video online somewhere, but it didn't go anywhere and he stopped rapping for years, right? And then another track that Lil Zane was on that I remember was the soundtrack to Hardball. And that was produced by Jermaine Dupri of So So Def. Now, let me read the next set of lyrics. It says, Jadakiss and Styles P had it locked down. Knock Yourself Out was the anthem in the streets now. I get high and locked up with Akon. New York was the place for rappers to get on. All right. So when I referenced Jadakiss and Styles P, you got to understand that Jadakiss and Styles P, they are cemented in hip hop greatness. Now, Knock Yourself Out, I remember was one of the lead singles from Jadakiss's first solo album called Kiss the Game Goodbye. I think that's what it was called. And then Styles P was on the song We Gonna Make It, which was a teaser towards the end of the Knock Yourself Out video, right? And then, and look, Knock Yourself Out was the anthem on the streets. And that was in 2001. Then in 2002, a year later, um, Styles P releases the song I Get High. And then he's featured on the song Locked Up with Akon 2 years later. When I said New York was the place for raps to get on, it really was because at that time we had, let's see, Jay Z, Fabulous, The Locks. At this time, I think they were still known as The Locks. They later on changed their name to D Block, um, Busta Rhymes. Trying to think of who else was hot between the years of 2000 and 2003 because there was a lot of people, you know what I mean? You had Fat Joe, Jay-Z. I mean, sorry, you had Fat Joe, Ja Rule, 50 Cent. Um, Terror Squad was also up in there doing their thing. Like, yeah, Terror Squad is like from 98. And I'm talking back when Triple Six and Cuban Link were all in the group. This is before Remy Ma joined and stuff like that. But Remy Ma, I think, had a relationship with Joe for a minute, like they knew each other or whatever, in terms of music. And then let's look at this, right? It says the South had outcasts popping in the streets. Bombs over Baghdad really made you glad for the culture. But do the people anticipate when the album drops? We gonna have to wait. Now, when I talk about Outcasts, right? Bombs over Baghdad was the first single that I remember for them, and it was so high energy, you know. And this was when I was in fourth grade, but it was a very high energy song. And I'm pretty sure if you remember the song, you remember the kick and the drums, everything was just booming. So it was a really hot song. And Outkast had everything locked down in the South. Like, as far as it went with Atlanta, that was them. And then I said, really made you glad for the culture. And the reason why I said that was because um, when you think of hip hop music, normally people just think of New York artists, but the West and the South really helped to shape hip hop overall everywhere. And then you had Bone Thugs and Harmony that were from the Midwest, and they added their own flavor to the game. So without people like Outkast or Jay Z or Ice Cube and Dub C, you know, or even Bone Thugs and Harmony, we wouldn't have the hip hop collective that we have now with so much rich culture. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think people realize that. And then it says when the album drops, we're gonna have to wait. So basically, that last line is talking about me. So I want people to see, like, yo, if you think this is dope, wait till you hear the whole album, right? Now let's look at the last verse. It says a lot of flame spitters and heavy hitters don't get respect. Gotta catch a show and nearly break your neck just to see greatness come off the stage. J. Cole the truth when he writes on the page. All right. So when I said a lot of flame spitters and heavy hitters don't get respect, like when I say flame spitters, I'm talking about someone who in their rhymes they're just punchline after punchline. It hits you and it attacks you. You know what I mean? Almost similar to the effect of battle rappers. And then I said, gotta catch a show and nearly break your neck. Because sometimes, I mean, you have all these great people on the internet, all these artists on TikTok and stuff, and that's cool. But to be able to see your favorite artist really spit fire like that, like you literally gotta go buy a ticket and make sure you go to that show. Like do whatever you have to do, even if it means you end up hurting yourself. But it's like there's only one way to experience it. Like you can't experience it at home. You got to be there in the moment. Kind of like how the verses was. You had all those people that were in there, right? And then I said, just to see greatness come off the stage. J. Cole the truth when he writes on the page. Greatness. Think about that. How many people can say that they can hold that title as an artist? And when we talk about greatness, we're talking about an ability to tell a story, witty punchlines, thoughtful and creative lyrics, and someone that can weave together a cohesive message and it not just be about the song itself, but also a nice beat to complement it. Because nowadays, people are more worried about the beat than they are the lyrics. And that's why a lot of these artists out here are failing. They get one hot song and that's it. And then I said J. Cole the truth when he writes on the page. Now J. Cole to me, in my opinion, is an immaculate MC. And I don't think there's anybody that can touch or match his level. He knows exactly what he wants to go for, and he goes for the kill every time he's on the booth. You know, when I heard the song False Prophets, I was like, yo, he's going in. He's letting people know, like, yo, XYZ, this is what it is. And he didn't care. He went in. Now look at this, right? It says Kendrick Lamar, another great rapper. What's up with today's sound? Tell me which after. Little Pump is 6ix9ine ain't valid. Them dudes can't rap. We take a lot of things for granted. Now, when I said Kendrick Lamar, another great rapper, I really meant that. I started listening to Kendrick Lamar. I want to say the first time I heard of him was 2012. And then I'm trying to think. Oh, the song that really got me into Kendrick Lamar was when I listened to the song Collard Greens by Schoolboy Q. And I thought it was clever how he put his rhyme together. You know what I mean? The little bit of Spanish that he had in there, and then he had the song "Be Humble." And then I remember he had a performance that he did on the Grammys one year, and I was just like, "Yo, this guy like he knows he knows his stuff." You know what I mean? And then there's another song um that he did with Future and another rapper. It's called Kings something. You guys know what the song is, right? And it's his song. All right, now look at this. It says, "What's up with today's sound? Tell me what you're after." Like the sound of hip hop today is not what I remember 20 years ago. Hip hop is very different now. It's divided. You got pop rap. Well, we've always had pop rap commercial, and then you've had rap that was strictly for the streets. But now everybody is trying to weave everything into one. And so then after that, I said, "What's up with?" I said, "Little Pump is 6ix9ine invalid. The dudes can't rap. You take a lot of things for granted." When I think of Little Pump, I think of the track that he and Kanye did together, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not listening to this dude at all." And then when it came to 6ix9ine, all I could think about was his rainbow colored hair and all of these tracks where he's just running around and he's not really saying anything. It's empty, it's void. It has nothing of value, you know. And then I said, "Screaming on a track doesn't make you popular or a lyrical piece. You need to have a seat. No disrespect, but my taste more refined. I remember a time when people knew you for lyrics." So when I said screaming on the track doesn't make you popular, that's who I was referencing because he likes to do a whole lot of screaming on his tracks. And I'm not saying that other people don't, right? But there's a difference between him and MOP. MOP, like Billy Dance, he screamed on tracks, but Billy Dance was spitting. He was projecting, right? Like the same way that Freaky Ta would project on the track, right? But they weren't screaming. They were just like their voice was loud, but it wasn't too loud or overbearing that you couldn't understand what their message was, you know? But yeah, yeah, too much screaming on tracks. Like I want to hear bars like, you know, that's what I want to hear. I said, or a lyrical beast, you need to have a seat. I said screaming on the track doesn't make you popular, or a lyrical beast, you need to have a seat. No disrespect, but my taste more refined. I remember a time when people knew you for lyrics. So nowadays, the reason why I mention that is that today's rappers are more known for their controversy on social media rather than their lyrical wordplay, and it's embarrassing because with the advent of this new type of social media, people get embarrassed very quick. Like all I want to hear is you do your music, right? And sometimes there are some individuals online that are activists and it's embarrassing. All we want to hear is your music. Like if you're doing something for the community, great, cool. But if you're not, get off your soapbox. If you're not doing something important, say it through your music. Make a difference and a change there, you know? And then I said, no disrespect, but my taste more refined. I remember a time when people knew you for lyrics. So, like I said, I don't mean any disrespect to the new generation. Do you. That's how you feel and that's how you want to promote yourself, then fine. But my thing is, I want to hear lyrical wordplay. And people tell me like, "Yo, nah, it's just a party songs to have fun." Yeah, but within that party song, say something of value. Say something that I could look at and I could be like, "Yo, okay, this is dope." Because if not, I'm not gonna feel it. And then I said, "And what you stood for, now they just puppets, prepackaged garbage sent to the public. This is what we fought now. Rap is still getting robbed by the pressure of the cash cow." And so when I said, "And what you stood for, now they just puppets," basically a lot of these record companies already know the formula of what it takes to make a good artist, and they're pretty much just promoting the same garbage across every platform. And I wonder, how are you going to have anybody that's unique when everything sounds the same? Like you got New York drill and you got UK drill. It sounds all the same. There's no difference, there's no substance, there's nothing that screams out like, "Yo, yeah, that's unique." Everything is just like, going for the kill, and this is who I'm going to kill, and I got my shooters. It's annoying. It doesn't really say anything. You know what I mean? So that's why I said next, prepackaged garbage sent to the public, because sometimes that's what it is. We get garbage, and what can you do with garbage? All garbage does is spread across. And if you don't clean it up in time, that's it. I heard somebody say earlier, I guess it could have been a parent that was pleading, like, listen, rappers, you can change the algorithm. You don't have to do all of this destructive music. And it's true, but here's the thing. If you already started off in this vein of gangster rap or whatever style of rap that you are, you can't change it all of a sudden. Your fans are going to be expecting you to do the same thing. Otherwise, you lose a fan base. Now, what I've noticed with today's record companies, they don't necessarily care about sales. They care about your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, who's following you, how many followers do you have, who has more subscribers. Um, they want you to be promoted that way, as opposed to you have an A&R that's working for you, and you go on shows, you do interviews, performances, and stuff like that. The game has changed a lot, right? And then I said, this is what we fought. Now rappers still getting robbed by the pressures of the cash cow. Now in the hip hop business, people were fighting for respect and to be treated fairly and to have their publishing and all this other stuff. But then again, you have people that are still being trapped into these deals that don't benefit them once again, but it benefits the record company. And then you got artists that have content that they want to release, but they can't because they still have 4 or 5 albums left to fulfill their contract, but they're not going to. So when I see artists signing to these major labels, there needs to be some type of way where you can make money off of your publishing. It shouldn't be the record label having 100%. We've learned this time and time again. But there were two artists that I saw that ended up getting into 360 deals. One owns their publishing. I don't know about the other one. But at the end of the day, um, yeah, the song Deja Vu is just really everything that's come to fruition or things that might come in the future. But it's just a glimpse of what we've been through in hip hop, where we started at, where things went, and now where they are. So past, present, and future. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I might do another lyric breakdown in the future. Once again, I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care and have a great night.